So, welcome everyone. Love having you either live right now or at some other point. Just appreciate you tuning in. Apparently, you probably already know this. You're either psychic or you've had the experience. We've had a little technical difficulty today, but that is what happens when you're on Wi-Fi. Anyhow, we are here. We're delighted to be here, and of course, someone I've known a number of years and always learning new things about is the one and only Miah. He's known all over the country, and I imagine internationally as well. But he is a
Yeah.
mover and a shaker. He's been featured on many television shows. The list goes on. Miah, as you know, this show is currently called On Fire for Life. And
Mm.
you definitely carry a fire. And one
Yeah.
of the things with the intention of this show is to show people how it's easier when you are being who you are. It's
Mm.
easier when you're being how you're imprinted by the planet. Anything
Right.
else seems to cause a little bit of struggle, right? And hardship. But it's that I gotta be me. And I believe I've even heard you sing that song. So
Yeah.
all of you tuning in, either now or later, please write in the comments where you're from. If you have questions right now while we're live, I'll be happy to share them with Miah. And we are here. So, Miah, thank you so much for being here. And hello from my heart. And you're a star. I mean, you
Oh.
just can't help yourself. You're a star.
Well, from Leo to Leo, thank you so much for letting me be part of this. I met you a few years ago, and it has been just beautiful unfolding for myself and my conscious journey. And I love what you're doing on this channel. A few weeks ago, you had a gentleman on talking about the highest possibilities, and it
Mhm.
really has. That's a very interesting thought as we consciously live out loud and be exactly who we're called to be in this experience. But yeah,
So, what
um,
has your life been like? Have you
what's
always known it's okay to be me? And did your parents think you were an evolved child and put you in a mystery school or yeah.
well, my mom and dad prayed for a girl and they got me. So I always say to be mindful what you pray for because there is a translation with divine spirit.
Yes.
I've always been me. I've been extremely colorful since I was a little kid. That one that was constantly talking too much, the class clown, like that's totally where I came from. It took many years to get out of my own way. I feel like the journey really began for me a couple of years ago when I made it on that show called The Voice. It really opened my eyes to that highest possibility.
Mm,
Because in life, we can easily just let this spacesuit be what governs how we think that we can show up or how big
mhm.
we can be. So I've really been taking back my power and taking up as much space. Um, yeah, and just crowning myself with that thought.
Well, let's talk about that because it's interesting. There's the saying that says a miracle is what happens when you wake up one day and you're there. And
Yeah,
you don't recall all the necessary steps that you took
yeah.
to get you there. And so you've been singing how many years? When did you
I
start?
started singing when I was like 3,
Like
but
three.
really full time and professional when I turned 30. So
Okay.
it's lots of
You've been
time.
at it, you've been at it a while. And what
Yeah,
I'm hearing you say, and this is so important, an important teaching for people tuning in, is that if you're I don't want to say if you're not careful. I don't like that. If you're not aware,
mhm,
um, or you go a little bit sleepy,
mhm,
before you know it, you're confined to an aquarium
mhm,
or confined to a box.
mhm.
And I hear that the voice was an extreme breakout point for you. It's
Yes.
like it's like, oh, you can be over here and you can hang out in the counties of Pinellas and you can, you can do things, and that's all great. It's all great. But yet you really are here. And
Mm.
was it like uncomfortable, or was it, well, a miracle's what happens when I wake up one day and here I am and I belong here?
Yes. Well, I
Mm,
feel like on the voice especially, I was looking for at that time in my life a yes outside of myself. And
mm,
going through the process and not have anybody turn around for me, it was very heartbreaking, because in that moment it was like it was my this is it moment. When every day this is it. Do you know what I
yeah.
mean? But
Yes.
then that's something you have to almost like relearn,
Right.
so that you can um, live authentically and be as bright as you can. And when I changed the way I thought about a yes outside of myself, and really just own that feeling of this is my now, and this is it. There's
Hmm.
nothing else but right here. Um,
Hmm.
really changed my entire experience. And I made it on a couple other shows after, and it has just like it's like each little thing just kind of like helps pull um, everything apart so that the true beauty can just be. For many years I was hiding behind this alter ego, this character that I
Right.
um, thought that it was me. I thought that this was how I should express myself, and I found refuge for many years in this character, and this drag persona. But I always carried spirit with me. And that time, that season that I got to meet you, I hadn't really had the opportunity to like share my spirituality. And
Hmm.
uh, it's just been like I flipped the coin. Like I went from, this hyper persona to now just being myself authentically 100%. And
Hmm.
it has the gift has just completely, has changed. It's just like you feel like you settle into um, who you are. I do believe that we chose to come here. Like,
Hmm.
so when I wrap my brain around that thought, um, and then learning in that self-discovery, that conscious journey, like, what's my design, what's my archetype, what's all these tools to really help you see how you show up, see where the trauma is, and how you can uncover all of that. Sorry, I'm jumping.
You're not. No, you're not at all. Um, you know, I liken it to be. Um, I don't think I ever came from a place of I don't want to be here. I'm talking teenager and all that. I don't know that I ever went that far. It saddens me the popularity of those kind of things going on. I This is hard, and I'm just going to exit out. That's a whole show by itself. But there are a lot of people that never really show up, and so there's they might be alive, but they're not really living,
Present.
as you said, living out loud, living present, that kind of thing. But for me, I had to find a way to reframe. Why would you place a back then the word was why would you place a homosexual
Mhm.
loud voice Leo
What you're saying, no.
why a small town of maybe at a school with like a population of 1,200 people and have all this that I endured, and family turning and never looking at you the same, and all of that, and your grandmother telling you you're going to go to hell and all of that, and yeah, that's long since gone. But the point is that the space of that is that we're born, but then it's like I heard that saying years ago: if we all gathered in a room and we threw our problems or what we perceived our past or our dysfunction or whatever on the floor, we'd knock each other down to grab ours back.
Mm.
And it's so true because we're born, but then we're created.
Mm.
And
Condition.
each of
Right.
those events, each
Mhm.
of those events, the times that you sang and you thought something else would come from that, you were creative, and you dig deeper. You have to go deeper. You have to go, I know I'm just as talented as a lot of other people I've heard and watched. And when's my time coming? You have to dig deeper. And we get created. And so it gives us this energy of depth. You can tell
Mm.
the difference from somebody reading a script
Mm.
and talking conceptual spirituality versus someone
Somebody who lives in it. Who lives.
somebody that has, been in it and around it and through it and, all of that because it's a very different experience. Um,
Yeah.
and I applaud you for that because it,
I
it
thought you
takes
were
courage.
trying. Yes. The
It,
courage. Yes.
it takes courage because it would be easy just to fit in the averages of
Right.
the universe. I was doing a talk not long ago here, and I said, a number of you are 70, 80, 90, and you
Young.
might feel like you're great and you're ageless, but then go on Google. What's going to happen to me next? Oh, well, you're probably going to get this, and then you're going
Not
to
the
have
land of
that,
what if.
and
Don't
then
get
you're
me
going to have the shingles, and then you're going to have that, and you just find
cancel, 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 cancel. Yes, I gotta do my work.
it's like, no way, go for
No, that's not for me.
150. I
Mm-hmm.
tell everybody I'm going for 150. Ageism
Yeah, yeah. It's a conscious,
is
yeah,
one of the most misunderstood and wrongly promoted
mm,
consciousness on our planet.
I agree.
We
It's
can
for
live
everyone else.
so much longer.
Mm-mm. I think when I realized that I was gonna die or transition, I feel like at that moment I allowed myself space to live.
Mm.
And
When
when we
was
get
that? When was
with
that? When was
that
that you?
was actually at about 4 years ago. My best
Wow.
friend, she had took her own life, and it was I
Wow.
gotta be.
Wow.
So my very best friend, my heart, I feel like she was my twin flame, the yin to my yang, the egg to my yolk, my sister Beja. And I really, we go through all the grief and the stages, and um, but I really think that when I wrap my brain around, like, at any moment, uh, our time can be, at any given moment, and you can really allow yourself to live. And I'm a strong believer in spirit, or whatever we want to call it.
Yeah.
Um, and because that something has it figured out, or it knows all we can allow ourselves that space of freedom, to
Mhm.
live in our highest consciousness and our greater light. And knowing that all of that other stuff, our ageism, all these things, it's all perfect and beautiful, but you don't have to
Mhm.
worry about because we can get caught up in it. And for so much of us, we move into our trauma and we unpack everything and we make it so perfect in this bubble, like my sister did, Beja. And when the walls came crumbling down, looking for hope was not something um, I believe she could see. Um,
Mhm.
Although I know my friend was with spirit before, during, and after this experience. And I love a couple weeks ago when you talked about how you have to let, sometimes in life, something truly has to die
Right.
for you to evolve, or really, not to condone type of any of that violence. The world truly is, I think we're caught up in our the breakdown of, are we gay, are we lesbian, are we, what's your pronouns, all these subcategories further pushing us away from the fact that we are human and we have humanity.
Mhm.
Um, and so much more we are alike than we are different.
Right.
And you can wrap your brain around, what if, the why, but truly, something bigger than ourselves is at play. And
Mhm.
I feel such a comfort in that. And I found that in music, for me, it's like that freedom to just express um, that
Mhm.
openly. And
It's a
if it wasn't,
time when it's a time when you can be totally raw
Yes.
and no
And
one
if
can
it wasn't
take it.
for
No
the
one can take it, right? It's like,
nobody can
that's
take
why I
that from
love being in front of people. I mean,
you.
I don't always enjoy public life. And I'm sure you probably can put together a number of
Right.
reasons why I don't. You take a lot of hits,
My personal time is
and people tell things about you that are so far-fetched from truth. It's just pathetically sad. But
It
I
is.
can't get away from it. I can't get away from it because my spirit, regardless, it always downloads me in another place. And I go, oh, well, okay. And it's been that way since I'm a kid. Like, I
Yeah.
don't really want to, do this. I don't want to be
Or
in
hear
charge
the
of,
thoughts or any type
right.
of
I don't want to be the officer of the high school. Oh, well, they picked you and we really need you. Oh, okay. Or the first time I went to an AA meeting, and I'd been sober for years, but a friend invited me to go to an AA meeting to check it out. And I walk in, it was on the east coast of Florida, and I walk in, and they must have had it seemed like 150 people. But and so somebody like parts through the room and walks up to me and goes, "We understand you speak." Our
mm,
speaker that was scheduled didn't show up, so it's like, and I know that that's been part of, what has happened in your life too, because we've had a
so it
couple of,
reminds me of a story. So
tell me.
I was sitting in this room where Carrie Underwood, when she auditioned for American Idol, was in, and she sat in the back, right? And mind you, this is after they herded us all into this room. And
Right.
I remember I walked in and a couple people looked over and they went, huh? And one of the contestants, one of the girls, goes, sit right here. She goes, wow. She's like, your energy, something. She was like, I don't know, but there's something about you. And I was like, oh, thank you. That's so kind. I appreciate it. And so I'm sitting in the back next to her. And then the producers come in and they're like, well, in this very room, Carrie Underwood, right in the back. And they point back and I'm sitting and I'm like in the last row, like against the wall. And I'm looking and I'm like, yeah, me, like her, like, it's this. But people can feel your vibration. They can sense your, especially children, because they were the closest to God. They just came from God, or
Totally.
again, whatever you want to call it. But that pureness that they know, they can literally, put a kid in a room, and they'll tell you who's not who. Like they
Oh
can
yeah.
see right through all of it because it's just pure light. So
Yeah.
it's just,
So true. It's
yeah.
so true.
I love kids. I think there's just that imagination, that wonder, that I can do anything feeling like you get when I'm sitting next to my niece and she's 8 and she just it's a beautiful breath of life. It's like that
Oh yeah.
fresh, it's
Oh
just
yeah. Well, my you
yeah,
truly know my goddaughter Miracle,
yeah.
who is soaring at 8 years
Mhm,
old, and
mhm.
she's a sixth grade level in the second grade.
I mean,
And just and balance, because it's one thing to develop a child's mind, it's another thing to keep their heart open.
mhm.
It's and skill sets, and and how we look to life, and all that. So yeah. And what happens when you get up and you're on a platform is, it's so innate with you. All you need to do is like mic me up and let me go, because it's
Ditto.
so innate. Was it always innate with you?
Yeah,
Did you
absolutely.
ever get real nervous or concerned, or anything like that?
Yeah, I
Did
mean,
you ever go through stages where you're like, I was telling somebody the other day, they asked me about speaking or whatever, and I said, well, I was terrified.
mhm.
I mean, in the beginning, my mom gave me a half a nerve pill.
Take this while you
But
feel
just
great.
get up and take you needed to make all your problems go away. And I don't remember obviously what I said 15 minutes after I was there, but yeah, it was continuing to walk through the journey of that. you know?
Well,
So,
I always felt like I could. I felt like I was a public speaker. I always felt like I had this, but I was. I'm always. I've been. I was petrified, terrified.
mm,
And I always felt like what I have to say. No one wants to hear this. Like, who wants to watch this flamboyant Latin, loud, like charismatic, on fire for Jesus and life? And they're like, wait a minute, hold on, back up. These are, and you're like, no, I mean, for some people have
mhm,
other thoughts. I wrap my brain around the shape of a cross and knowing it's love in all directions, northeast, south, and
right.
west, and it's love. And
Yeah.
from that place is where I derive an unconditional consciousness. And
Hmm.
I was there at the time when this person was here. So who to say it was or wasn't, I couldn't tell you. But what
Yeah.
I tell you, I invoke the spirit, which is me getting back to the public speaking. It has been getting out of the way and really just stepping into that portal, into that
Hmm.
place where that piece is, and invite people in my piece. So for me, the biggest thing has been learning how to, like, own a space and not let my space cadet, go off, and, stay grounded. I love when you taught me a while ago about, and I do them all the time, and then going further
Oh,
and learning.
Donna Eden, energy medicine.
I never
Oh, yeah.
forgot what you told me. You
I
said,
do it
come,
every
you were
week.
like, yeah, bring some energy in, bring it,
Yeah.
India.
I do it
And
every time. I do too. Every time I'm in
it's
front of a group, I
amazing.
always do it. Yep.
And, so it's really, as I've been in the self-discovery piece, I feel like I've given myself permission, because I feel like I've been granted this extra, ordinary experience. We all have gorgeous experiences, but language
Mhm.
and then to be able to just share that, peace has been, but it's only been a couple years. I feel, because if you'd have asked me about, when I was a kid, I wouldn't read in front of it. I was petrified of, being in front. But I do know that it was my primitive years of, being in public school, and I could read upside down and I could hear thoughts, and they're like, something's wrong with me. I'm in a public school. So they're like, we're going to put you in this special class for special people. But I'm like, this one's hitting the wall. Where's he going? And this one's over there yelling. I'm like, I know I don't belong here. And it's, I don't regret or have any resentment towards anything that has happened to me, because I hold radical peace every day. And I remind myself,
Mhm.
comes in that's not in alignment. I have, there's tools that we learn to, knowing that emotion lasts 7 minutes, you can just wait. Sometimes it's just waiting. And then it was so funny. A couple of weeks ago, I got really upset. I know me, I don't ever get upset. So I'm upset. I'm sitting in front of my girlfriends, and she's like, get mad, get mad. And I'm like, it's all good. It's all good. I'm telling you, everything is good. Say, Jay, it's not good. It's good. All is well. I'm telling you, it's what I know. So then I was watching this podcast, because again, it's all about that self-discovery. Seek and you shall find.
Right.
Put yourself, and there will be an answer. There's always an answer. And sometimes not having an answer is the answer. And that's a new thing I've been really wrapping my brain around, especially when it comes to being sick or any of that lesser light or people that you can't quite put your finger on. You know that it's okay, because something bigger than you understands it, and they're in conversations that you're not in, and that's okay, because you didn't even be in that conversation. You
Right.
didn't have to know what they said. And my motto in life, I just added this when I somebody wise said this, and I added something to it. It says, uh, don't, how does it go? It's even if you can hear their thoughts, it's like, oh, what anybody says about you is none of your business, even if you can hear their thoughts. And I
Hmm.
have to hear your thoughts in, because sometimes I'm like, that's not my, and you're like, no, it's not mine. So yeah. I have a lot, there's a lot of people upstairs, okay, and I've got them all to sit at the same table. So it's just, and I've
Well,
never,
yeah, but that's what is true for gifted people.
right?
I mean, you're talking
Yeah.
about labels. People are called dyslexic,
Right.
borderline autistic, and yada yada yada. And I'm not making light of any of that, but it's that's the way it was for a number of us when we were little, and no one knew what to do with us.
Mm-mm. No,
I was
actually,
in
we
trouble
want to
all
silence
the
the
time.
instinct. The whole thing is to silence it. Oh, you're too loud. Sit over there. Oh, you're
Yeah,
too this. Oh, what pronoun should I use for you? I'm a human, so my
right.
pronoun is me.
Yeah,
And me. Mom says she and dad says he, but I don't really like. I'm not caught up there. I've lived there. That's not my address,
no,
or my description,
right,
because I don't have my identity in a
right.
label. And it's a thing that I feel I get goosebumps saying that. God wants me to say that. I do not, uh, I feel like it's just, there's so much more to life than
Hmm.
to be in some box or what, someone else thinks that you should do and be whatever you want to be. Take as much space as
Exactly.
you want to take up. If somebody
Exactly.
told me that when I was a kid, because I never thought I was good. I never thought I could sing. I thought I was like, oh, I was always third or fifth and then you're like, and you love spirit so much, you're like, well, you're gonna talk to them, and you're just, you get lost in it. But I really, really like the past 4 years since I've been in this conscious journey. I have, oh my gosh, reached a mountain and then I'm on to the next mountain and it is just it's good. Like I
Hmm.
feel so, and then you're confirmed when someone, you say something as beloved, because you share and it's like you speak and it's just and they're like, you said that for me, and you're like, I don't even know what I said.
Right.
You're like, I just
Exactly.
I was in the flow.
Exactly.
I was out of my
Yeah.
way for that, you know. Yeah.
That's why I've always wanted to be free of notes or anything like that because I just want to be present, to what wants to come and what wants to download. What's coming up for me is I'm thinking of BB's daughter-in-law that she has a movie. It's on Netflix, I believe, or Prime, and it's called American Reject.
Huh,
American Reject. I'd love you to watch it.
I will.
Um, she wrote it, and she and her husband, Barbara's son, produced and directed the whole film. And the woman that was in The Greatest Showman, the bearded lady,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
she's in
Melissa,
it.
Melissa? No.
She's in it.
Yeah.
Angelica Hale, the young
Really?
little girl that made it on America's Got Talent. I mean, it's filled with people like that. But Kathleen Motley, she was when CBS was looking for You're the One That I Want with Sandy and Danny. And it was back before we had 4,000 channels. And she was on, she was fourth. She placed fourth, and so she wrote that about her life and what the American Reject and the
Mm,
experience that she walked through and what she endured and stuff like that, and that's why storytelling is so important, because it activates the visionary within us.
mm,
And it's like what is it that magnet says on the refrigerator? If your best hasn't happened yet, your best is yet to come. And if it hasn't happened yet, it's just not over. I mean, it will happen. Um,
amen.
there's no doubt about it. So it's going to be really exciting to see what lies on the other horizons of your life.
Oh,
And
thank you.
are you working on anything now? Or, I mean, I know you're always out sharing your gifts, but I mean, is there anything over here that's like, that's your next big?
Yes. Well, I'm working on a podcast
Good.
called What's Your Miracle? And it's just
Called what?
time.
Called
What's your
what?
miracle?
What's your miracle? Yes.
Mhm. And what my intention with it is to bring hope from all denominations and interfaith of times where something supernatural happened,
Mm,
and these real stories, real people, real things. I feel like we need that. I need that.
yeah.
And, I want to be part of and do things that's like I'm here with you, that I
Mhm,
believe in. I was so inspired, like I said a couple of weeks ago, with this, what you're doing.
mhm,
And it is, it's hope.
Hmm.
And right now in a world where, there's so much going on, um, I hold heaven as now, you hold heaven as now. And that's what I'm doing. I'm writing my first album. My prayer this year is I am doing all my original music and I'm sharing it in my categories currently now.
Wow. Hmm.
I just wrote a song the other day, and it's called Anthem of Peace, and you've heard it first. And
Wow.
it's amazing. I signed with a management company. I have an agent. Um, I gotta read through that. I'm like, it's a lot.
That's right. That's
To me
right.
a
You
couple
got
years
to have
ago.
the people. Yep. You got to
Yeah.
have the people. You got to have the publicist. You got to have an
Yes.
executive producer of your podcast. Like I'm so blessed with Andrea. I mean,
Yes.
all these things
All
are
blessing.
what expands the greatness.
Mhm.
Because a lot of people don't realize that it's bottleneck. Everything they have to do, they have to control their calendar, they have to do this, they have to take care of it. And before you know it, they're busy, and oh, that just irritates me. I'm busy. Well, like the rest of us aren't, like we're creative, we're creative people, and there's more energy to do anything when you're loving what you're doing, right? I mean, and you just keep going on the vibe. But if we don't have the extensions, the other people helping us and supporting us, and the animals helping us, me, I often bring a dog here or there to the office. It's good
I love it.
medicine.
I
Um,
gotta keep
but
there's my
it's,
page.
yeah, right? I know, that's so cool. But I'll look forward to when your album's coming out. That'll be
Thank
really
you.
cool. I love that.
Hopefully this
It's the
spring.
anthem of peace. Is that what you said? The anthem of peace.
Yeah,
We need
yeah.
one. We
Oh, yeah.
need an anthem of peace. And where I am is too, is I really watch even more so what I say.
Amen.
And behind what I'm saying, in just everyday communication is what I'm talking about, is I watch and I make sure that I'm not using divided language.
Amen. Yes,
I
right.
I I don't know all the activity going on in the world because I can only see the windows that I can see. And that's
Oh,
not media. That's not
I don't have a
what
TV.
sells. That's right. I know that's not what sells.
I
And
listen to the
so
radio.
it's,
Mhm.
I don't
Yeah.
know either. And yet I do feel a division
Mm,
with certain energies. And so I'm like, okay, well, I definitely have no desire to be a contributor to that, because there are a lot of phenomenal people on the planet, and I'm an eternal activist, standing for things. And
right.
I appreciate that you bring that value too, because I do think it's important that we move from the me to the we.
We
And
are.
the world's a
Yeah.
better place because we happen to be here.
Yes.
It really is. And as you were talking earlier about your friend Baja, I was thinking about how, I don't know if you're aware, but we didn't call them podcasts back then. But I've been doing this 15 years now, having a show and chatting with amazing people. And back in the day, it was called From Good to Amazing. And then
Yes.
it was called The Intentional Spirit. And now it's
Mhm.
called On Fire for Life. And who knows what it will be called next. It's just like it's all evolutionary. But the point being is that to just impress upon the fact that in all the years of doing the show, very hardly ever did the word suicide come up.
Mhm.
And now it's just about almost every show. I mean,
Mhm.
Dr. Marlon Robbins on the show last week, he was shape shifted because his sister
Yeah.
killed herself.
But then the blessing about the
Uh
donor,
huh.
I mean, you just
Oh,
again,
yeah.
it's
Oh,
cool, and I
yeah.
love it. You download. You see, we sublime. It's just,
Yep.
you know, we all are. It's something we all. It's just the world we live in,
Yep.
and you
It's
know,
part of
but
the life.
it's part of
It's
life.
evolving, with the life experience. And whatever the conversation is, it's just interesting to watch. There was a time where just about every show was be grateful, get out your gratitude journal today, and let us talk about the 7 steps. Is that important? Absolutely, it's important. But it's
All of it.
also very important to move beyond conceptual to talk about real depth of stuff,
And I love what you
real
said.
life.
I love what you say about it. It's like, I don't want to know about what you're, you and now. I want to know how you got here. Like, how
Yeah,
did you get from the,
yeah.
because that's truly the way you help someone
Hmm.
is by holding that space. This is how I've done it. I'm not asking you to do the same way. I'm asking you to find your own way because the way
Right.
knows. Yeah, I love that song. And it's just so important. Again, I love that highest possibilities thing because it's really made me look at my boat
Hmm.
and who's with me in this boat.
Yeah.
We from we were right now we're in a I am is everywhere. Everyone's using I am. And I love it. And I
Mhm.
am it is beautiful to see everyone all around us having these beautiful breakthroughs, and it's just out of this world. But I also know that selfism is what I've called it. I heard
Oh,
this one
that's a
said,
good one. That's a good one.
yeah.
Selfism,
So
yes.
anything less or light, because it's for me, it's as a kingdom citizen, kingdom heaven and earth.
Yeah.
Um, it is, we live at our greater light, and then anything in that lesser light, knowing everything came from light. So it helps you look the way you look at everything and the way you show up. I don't know where I was going, but yeah.
Hmm.
um,
Well, you're talking about, being a difference maker. You're talking about,
that's where we're going.
the we, from the me to the we, and being in the me is real important. That's why they tell you on the plane, put your oxygen mask on first, because if you don't, you're not going to be able to help anybody else. But there comes a time of, getting out of ourselves and being of service. If I was in charge of the country, and nobody's called and asked me, but if I were in charge of the country, I would have every citizen serve in a military type situation for a year or two. And that's not fighting and shooting and M16s. It's not, or automatic. It's not that, killing and all that. It would be to serve communities. It would be to help with, natural disasters or self-imposed disasters. We do have a lot of those too. So it would be about that. So people could really buy into that I've earned the right to be here. I wasn't just born so I could go fill me up. It's all about me. I'm entitled. Fill me up. I'm entitled. It's all about me. And I don't have any responsibility to the planet or the earth or,
To my
whatever.
brother,
I think we,
am I my keeper, my brother's keeper, am I not?
yeah,
No,
it's right.
I mean, I think we were once in there was, I could go through knowing where we were as the foundation of this country. And
Yeah.
here we are just so, like the other side of it. Like I think
Yeah.
about how in the day there was stadiums filled with, these churches or these worship experiences. And now there is a person that is, idolized or, and I mean, I could go through this whole, but it's just remembering, getting back to
Mhm.
that root
Yeah.
of we are so much the same.
Yes, we
And
are.
we don't need labels. We just must be kind
Yeah.
and love. And
Mhm.
that's it. And from that pure place, we bring into this world what we want.
Yeah. That's funny. I've never been one of labels either. I do bring them up to tell stories. Back when I was on the speaking circuit, and I was in America and in, the United Kingdom a lot, and
Super cool,
and I
amazing.
would tell stories of my alcoholism, and I would have been, let's see, maybe late 30s then, I'm thinking. And so, not long ago at all. So I would, and they would, and so when they would do the critiquing, everybody would critique. They would complain that I mentioned that. Well, you know who was complaining? The people that had a problem with it, right? I mean, usually it's innate that they're reacting. So it's like, and the company called me and said, your points are so high, and yet this shows up about you telling that story, and is that a story you have to have? And I said it is. I'm 30 something years old. I'm dressed to the nines. I don't look like I've had a problem in this world. I'm just talking externally. And I'm certainly not talking about the way I look, but I just meant that I need to tell them I've gone through some heavy duty stuff. I can't be going around to the American Cancer Society talking to cancer patients in this conceptual way without saying, I also have something that could have killed me and kills countless millions of other people. So, that's why I love doing this show is to hear people like you. And who knows who you will shift when you'll say, "Oh, I used to be terrified." People need to hear that stuff because it helps them grow, it helps them shift, it helps them or just changing platforms.
Yes, it does.
It's a big thing. It's a big thing to change a platform of your own consciousness.
Mm.
Because
Oh,
then you, right?
yes.
You
I
just
hear.
start teaching people how to treat you different and how to hold you different. And no, everything I do now, I don't want to be free. And there's a value, and this has a domino effect.
I love that.
So
Yeah.
just
Yes.
keep being out there trailblazing, right?
I'm doing it. I feel like I have to share my love for spirit and my love for life. And
Hmm.
I feel like people need people that look like me that aren't, I'm a woman on the inside and a man on the outside. Don't ask me how I know. I just know.
Hmm.
And, I don't need to make my outside match my inside because I'm perfect. I
Hmm.
am a child of the Most High, as you
Yeah.
are, sister. And it's just so beautiful uh, being here. I'm hearing so much more clear, and I'm just I want to help. My mission statement is to dissolve the ah, to dissolve suffering with the frequency of love.
Isn't that
And
the truth? One of your pals, Melissa Martinez, is saying, "Thank you for being real, raw, and relatable."
come on, wow,
See,
Farrell.
they're tuning in, and Aaron saying hello to us, and we just
Hi,
appreciate all of you tuning in. And
be
yeah,
encouraged.
it's this incredible journey we call life. And I'm with you. That's you may have heard me say this before, that Howard Thurman says, stop asking what the world needs.
Hmm.
What the world needs is people that are alive. Ask yourself, what makes me alive? Because that's what the world needs more of, is people that are alive, the trailblazers, the people that look different in their outfits. And
Right.
you're saying, "Oh, I'm a woman inside and a male on the outside," and I say, I am taking on ageism by storm. I am
Yeah.
an energetic spirit. I mean, we just keep
Yeah.
taking things on. It's like radical, being brave and bold enough to, somebody did that for the 4 minute mile. Somebody did that for the automobiles. Somebody did that to go to the moon. We can go to the moon, and we can't figure out how to live to be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years old. That must have just been people created that they didn't want to be married that long. It's like, I'm so done with you. Because we can, and it's been proven many times that we can definitely live a whole lot longer. But I'm with you. It's not the number of years; it's the quality. It's the energy. It's the joy. It's the somebody interviewed me on a show not long ago and they said, how can you be so joyful? And I said, because I needed to understand that joy isn't the absence of sadness.
Mhm.
Joy isn't the absence of things going on or a problem here or there, because we are human beings. Joy is the inclusion of all of that.
Love it. Enjoy. Mm.
Enjoy. Exactly.
Mhm.
Enjoy. And you're radiating that and beaming that quite beautifully, sir.
I'm on fire. I just
Mhm.
feel joy. Happiness is a choice
Yeah.
that we make, not a destination. And once you really hold on to these keys, these mantras, and you speak them to yourself, you begin
Hmm.
to rewire something. And I
Yeah.
know there is power when you say it out loud to yourself. Sometimes I talk to myself, I even answer. And because I'm coaching myself all as well, as well.
Right.
That's what I was saying earlier. There was a podcast I saw, and this guru was talking about how in all religions the center is this all is well concept. And I love how, innately as a being, you have things within you that will just, as you start to do that work, they will come to you. Um,
Yes.
I feel that more than ever.
That's
Yeah.
so beautiful. Well, it's been wonderful sitting with you and being with you and just feeling your vibe and your enthusiasm for all
See you
that
out
life
there
is
soon.
about. Huh?
I'll see you out there soon.
Hey, the door is open. The door
Oh,
is open. Just give me a shout out,
tell
okay?
me I said hello. Thank you so much again for this and for being a fearless
Absolutely.
leader. You
Let me
have
know when your
great.
new music is out and I'll put it out there and share it, okay?
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you for all you do and for being fabulously you. And you
Oh,
inspire me, and I thank you for that. Thank you for
you
being
keep
the.
living out loud, okay?
I am. Takes one
You
to come, right?
keep living out loud, and yeah, I assure you, you haven't seen anything yet. I have a
Hey!
lot. I have a lot of new things coming out in 2024, so
Come
it's really
on.
exciting.
I have
And I'm
possibility. I hold them for you like you hold them for me. And I
and I
thank you.
totally do, my
For always
dear.
seeing me. From day one, you saw me. And
Yep,
I thank you.
yep,
Thank you. Change my life.
absolutely. You're a blessing. Everybody tune in to jmayamusic.com and get some blessings. Thank you,
All
my
right.
friend. Thank you for being with us. Stay in
Bye-bye.
touch. All right.
Yes.